Well, we are surrounded by wood. We're here with Adam Sasser from E3 Pallet Solutions. How are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Outstanding. And we're going to talk a little bit about your pallet business, of course, and the wood. But you're no stranger to wood, I guess. You kind of made a living for a while after high school, right?
That's right. Yeah. So I was born and raised here in Augusta. Went to Greenbrier High School. Played 4 years of baseball there, graduated in 2015, and then proceeded my career on into college at the University of Georgia. After Georgia, I then, like you said, went on and played professionally for a few years and up in Iowa and Sioux City, then got traded into New Jersey for a year right before COVID. And then ultimately, the season got canceled due to COVID. So that's kind of what led me into what I'm doing now.
Wow. How interesting. So walk us through the unique story about how you, this is a real niche. Like I'm guessing there's not a lot of pallet businesses in the CSRA, I would think.
Yeah.
So how did it happen?
Yeah. So like I said, I was playing baseball. In the off season, I was looking for a way to make some money, and still having to train and practice every day because that was still my goal and my job at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't take on a full-time gig for a couple months. So I started researching different ideas, stuff like that. And what I did was I would start picking up pallets from companies that were throwing them away or waste pallets, in their scenario.
Mm-hmm.
And I would turn around and sell them to a company that was trying to, ultimately buy them. I did that for a few months, and then our season got canceled. So then I had a period of time there where, I wasn't doing anything at all baseball related, and I actually had an opportunity to continue to actually grow what I was doing, and you know how it is. One contract leads to another contract, and then all of a sudden I was a little bit too big to actually just walk away and leave what I was doing.
Now, how did you get help in launching your business?
Yeah, so at the time, I asked my grandfather for if I could borrow his old farm truck. He lives in Lincoln County, and he's got a lot of farmland, a lot of farm equipment, stuff like that. And he had an old, I think it was a 1995 green Chevy pickup.
Nice.
Is how I started. So kind of got it running. It didn't last too long, but it got me going at least to start with. And my dad had a trailer that I borrowed from him. Just to kind of help move around some pallets, stuff like that. And then, my grandpa actually had oddly enough, buried away in a pasture somewhere, a 28-foot gooseneck trailer that was, completely rusted. Wood was falling through, on the top, on the deck, and actually completely, basically gave it a rebirth, completely new flooring. Painted it, the whole, new brakes, new tires, the whole. Basically just used the frame and added from there. And we still have that trailer as well. So, but we've added quite a few, a lot of equipment since then.
Sure, and we're continuing with Adam Sasser, who is the CEO and owner of E3 Pallet Solutions, and online it's e3pallets.com. Where is this facility, this photo that we're looking at?
Yeah, so we're on Broad Street in King Mill Park. It's right up the road, from here, but it's subdivided into different warehousing spaces. And we started out, well, oddly enough, back to what we talked about previously, I started out with just a little piece of property next to my parents' house when I was first going, and then, I outgrew that pretty quickly. Went to my grandfather's farmland up in Lincolnton, and ultimately was forced back down into Augusta, which is a good thing. Found Robbie Ray, who is actually the manager of King Mill Park, and started out with one 8,000 square foot facility, and have expanded into 3 total now, and actually looking to potentially get into a 4th.
All right, I'm not a mathematician, but that's 24,000 square feet.
Yeah, that's
tremendous.
Yeah, no doubt.
A lot of growth coming, and we'll get into that the next time that we chat. But for those who don't understand, like, what is the core business surrounding pallets?
Yeah, so for us, there's actually 2 sides of our business. So we have our supplier side, and we actually have our buyer side. It's kind of what we call it. So on our supplier side, these are companies that are manufacturing goods, or they're bringing in materials that they're actually taking off the pallets that, that they're shipping on. And the pallets then to them are essentially trash or waste, or, it's just a nuisance to them.
They need someone to take it off their hands, right?
That's right. Yeah. So, a lot of times they are in great shape, or they're broken, whatever. Mm-hmm. So what we do is we'll actually go in with a 53-foot dry van trailer, drop it off at their loading dock, leave it there. I like to say as a dumpster, but I use that term very loosely because I like them to obviously stack it up as neat as they can. Yeah. But so what we do is then we bring them into our facility. We have one of the warehouses that we rent is a full repair facility. So we actually go through and check every single pallet. If it needs boards taken off, if it needs boards repaired, put on, we do that in-house. And then to your point, the other side of our business is the buyer side. Okay. There's actually companies that will buy recycled pallets, instead of a new pallet, and the cost savings on that for them is 50% or more sometimes, right, compared to a new pallet.
Now, how do you? So you're kind of the middleman in a way, right? Because you got to acquire it, yep, and then get it to your customers. How do you get customers on both sides, I guess?
Yeah, it takes a lot of obviously the sales cycle in general is a long time. So. What I like to do is I really like to attack the supply side, because if I have supply, I can hopefully sell it. If I'm attacking buyers, I don't have supply, then that's tough. So true. Our main focus is on our supplier side, and the reason being, a lot of the pallets that our suppliers bring in, they actually end up either in a dumpster or they're trashing them some way, going to the landfill, stuff like that. So with us, with our service, we're actually able to save thousands of trees and prevent these pallets from ending up in the landfill, which, ultimately, like I said, saves a lot of trees in general.
Do you deal with customers both in the CSRA and outside of the area? Like, who would your ideal client be, I guess?
Yeah, so any large manufacturing company, that is bringing in a lot of different pieces that have to be put together. That's a big market for us, is because they are bringing in tons of wood pallets. That or on the other side, anybody that's shipping out materials that doesn't necessarily have to be on a brand new pallet, because there are regulations where you would have to, such as food grade products, stuff like that. They do have to be on a brand new pallet, but if it's not food grade and it doesn't have to be regulated, then there are plenty of cost savings, and the pallet, quality is just the same in a lot of instances.
Well, if you have interest on either side of the pallet world, if you will, the best thing to do is to learn a bit about the company. And again, online, it's e3pallets.com. And before we scoot, and in our next segment, we're going to talk about the supply chain issue we've all been dealing with. What have you learned about playing baseball and being on the road that you've taken into running this business?
Yeah, I mean, with any type of athletics, you grow up learning a work ethic, because you have to have it. Mm-hmm. You learn that you can't quit. That whole thing where you do that my entire life growing up. It really does transition into everyday life, and I know people obviously say that, but it is kind of crazy to be on this side of it and see how playing a sport growing up can actually benefit in business or just in life in general.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. And we're pleased to have Adam today here at the Get Up Productions studio. Had you done a podcast before?
It's my first one. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're a pro.
I don't know about that.
You pick it up easy. And if anyone out there has interest, you can certainly just follow the different prompts to go on social media and check out Get Up Productions and Augusta Podcasts. Are located in downtown Augusta, and we certainly do appreciate them.